idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea.
Inside Disney's Snow White fiasco, threats, beefed up security, and a social media guru to shut her up.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line.
Rachel Zegler couldn't hold back tears, and now Gal Gadot's silence is officially over. With Snow White turning into a full-blown disaster, Gadot is reportedly pointing fingers, and Rachel is right in the spotlight. What really went down? Did Rachel ruin the movie? Or is she just an easy target for a much bigger mess? Let's break down the drama, the blame, and the chaos, because this flop just got personal. Rachel Zegler's worst nightmare has officially come true. Fans predicted Snow White would flop, but what Rachel likely didn't expect was Gadot allegedly pointing the finger at her.
Narcissist!
Gal Gadot just got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a huge moment, but guess who wasn't there? Rachel Zegler. Her absence raised a lot of eyebrows. Fans were quick to point out the rumored tension between the Snow White co-stars and skipping. The event only added fuel to the fire. Some say Rachel didn't want to face Gal. Others think Disney purposely kept them apart, just like they allegedly did during press events. No one really knows the reason, but her no-show definitely didn't go unnoticed. Now fans are convinced there's real beef between them, and on Tuesday Variety dropped a bombshell report alleged behind-the-scenes drama between Rachel and Gal, finally exposed. Insiders say Rachel and Gal got along just fine while filming No Major Drama, No Bad Blood. But as Snow White's release date got closer, things started to get weird. It all kicked off after the Oscars on March 2nd. A fan asked if Rachel and Gal were presenting together. Rachel replied on Instagram calling Gal a professional pageant queen. That comment rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Some called it shady. Others saw it as straight-up disrespectful. From that point on, Disney stepped in. They kept Rachel and Gal separate during the press tour. But instead of shutting down the rumors, it made fans even more convinced. Something was up. Then came the LA premiere on March 15th. Rachel and Gal didn't pose together. They didn't even sit together. In fact, Rachel sat 2 rows ahead of Gal and her family, and the tension was real. At that point, insiders say Disney had already thrown in the towel, realizing there was no saving the movie from the massive backlash it had been facing. It said Disney had given up hope that the film could overcome the backlash, and if empty theater seats are any sign, Snow White isn't off to a great start. Audiences just aren't showing up, and Rachel Zegler's critics are noticing social media is full of screenshots from ticket apps showing rows of unsold seats. Some fans even posted photos of near-empty theaters during showings. It's a rough look for a film that was already facing heavy backlash. Some critics are even joking that someone should start a GoFundMe to help Snow White recover its massive budget. Rachel Zegler first made headlines when she was cast as Snow White, but not for the best reasons. A lot of fans were not happy with a Latina actress playing the iconic Disney princess. And that drama didn't stop there, because what fans didn't expect was the fight between Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler. Now that the movie has flopped at the box office, the blame game has officially begun, and Rachel is right in the middle of it. Jonah Platt, son of Snow White producer Mark Platt, called Rachel out publicly. He blamed her narcissistic behavior and political comments for hurting the movie. When someone on Instagram called his dad creepy as hell, Jonah didn't stay quiet. He clapped back, saying his father flew across the country just to confront Rachel about her statements. Jonah says she brought unnecessary controversy to the film's promotion, despite having a multi-million-dollar contract. And when people defended her with free speech, Jonah shut that down fast, saying free speech doesn't mean you can say anything at work without consequences, especially not when millions of dollars are on the line.
can start out with the creative bankruptcy of remaking another animated classic instead of making something new. But yes, it's all Rachel Zegler and her behavior. And if it was just one comment, it probably would have been forgotten by now. But it was comment after comment, and it was pissing off everybody, pissing off old Disney fans, pissing off new Disney fans, pissing off Trump supporters, pissing off all of America. And it became such a disaster that they had to shut her up, which was the smartest move they made. But the onus is all on her and Disney's reaction to it. And quite frankly, if she has said nothing, her movie, probably still forgettable, would have done a lot better.
What Gal Gadot did next shocked even Disney insiders. But to understand how it got to this point, we need to rewind with Snow White already struggling. Rachel Zegler's off-screen drama was only adding fuel to the fire. It all began in August 2024, right after a massive win. But then Rachel tweeted "Free Palestine." The backlash was instant. Disney executives were worried, and things got even more complicated when Gal Gadot, who's Israeli, became the target of online hate. Disney reportedly responded by increasing Gal's security, according to Variety. Insiders say Rachel didn't understand the repercussions of her actions. Tension with the studio grew. Producer Mark Platt even flew to New York to confront her in person. But Rachel refused to delete the post-accusations of being too woke blame for threats aimed at Gal. The situation spiraled. It got so serious, Disney allegedly had to bring in private security for Rachel, too.
Snow White, the toe-curlingly terrible live-action remake, has bombed so hard at the box office that even Paul Tassi had to admit it.
Given Gal Gadot's background, 2 years as an instructor in the Israeli Defense Forces, Disney's decision to boost her security wasn't made lightly. She's a mother of 4, and the threats were real, but this was just one part of a much bigger mess. Snow White was supposed to be a modern reimagining of a classic. Instead, it became one of the studio's biggest controversies, and things only got worse from there. Rachel's tension with Disney kept growing, especially after she continued posting politically charged opinions. She even took aim at Donald Trump and his supporters after the U.S. presidential election. Disney was scrambling. In a last-ditch move, they brought in a social media expert to manage her accounts, but it was too late. Snow White flopped hard, just $87 million at the box office against a $270 million budget, a brutal loss for Disney, and another reminder that their live-action remakes might not be the golden ticket they once were. Earlier this month, Gadot opened up to Variety about the rising hostility online, saying there is a challenge for people to speak so much hate going on, and so many bots. Rachel Zegler didn't just stir controversy with her Free Palestine post, she also ruffled feathers with her take on the original Snow White. Clips resurfaced of Rachel calling the original story extremely dated, and even claiming the prince was a stalker. She said the 1937 classic felt very evidently old-fashioned.
Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
But for die-hard Disney fans, that wasn't just critique. It felt like disrespect, and with Snow White already under fire, these comments only fueled the backlash, while Rachel insisted she was trying to promote a stronger female lead. Fans saw her as tearing down the very legacy she was cast to represent. Then came opening day. Rachel posted behind-the-scenes photos, but none with Gal Gadot, not even one. Instead, she praised the crew and a few supporting cast members, completely skipping her co-star who played the evil queen. She shared heartfelt messages, called it a life-changing experience, and even claimed the film was the #1 movie in the world, but fans weren't buying it. Not with box office numbers tanking, and not with Gal Gadot still dead silent. And here's what's even more telling: Disney hasn't come to Rachel's defense. No big statements, no public support. They're quietly stepping away, leaving her to deal with the backlash alone. Whether you think Rachel's being unfairly blamed, or whether she brought this on herself, one thing's clear: Gal Gadot is done playing nice.
Rachel Zegler went to go see Snow White. What do you notice about the theater? There's no one. Rachel Zegler is sitting in an empty movie theater watching her movie. giggling hysterically and maniacally. Rachel Zegler watching Snow White in an empty theater.